Hey Emma,
Yes, Madelyn.
what do you call that blissful moment when you're finally able to pass the person spewing cotton candy scented fumes from their lungs?
Oh, vaping. I understand. I don't know. What do you call it?
Vape escape. Hello and welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
You know when you just you can finally get past the person, just spew in the cloud of it.
Yeah. Well, not so much anymore. It was definitely a big problem back when I was still on a college campus, but less so now.
See, I feel like vaping didn't hit it big until I was a little out of college and hit it really big anyway.
Now there's just the one corner where everybody smokes pot at night.
Nice, the pot corner.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, thanks for tuning in. I'm your, primate at the Great Wall host, Madelyn.
I'm your monkey me, monkey do host, Emma.
Monkey me. Was that a pun on purpose, or do you just not know the phrase?
I know the phrase. Where would I have come up with that if I didn't know the phrase, Madelyn?
Monkey.
I just said monkey see, monkey do.
Well,
I just pulled it out of the ether.
I'm sorry. I heard you say monkey me, monkey do.
Yeah, monkey me, monkey do.
Okay, quick. Let's corral this podcast back in. I'm getting my little net and saving this from running away. And this week on the show, listeners, we're going to be talking about Ape Escape and Miitopia.
Yes.
It's a little more lighthearted, I think, this week.
Yes, than last time. The last main episode. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't think that's really hard, to be honest.
Mean, it's just a nice break.
There's no Drakengard, so can only get more lighthearted.
Look, I was a little scared as I was about to dive into the lore of Ape Escape. I was like, is there going to be some kind of incredibly dark backstory to Ape Escape that I just didn't know?
Well, I guess you are, bringing apes into captivity, aren't you? That is a little sad if you think about it too long.
No, there's definitely a hidden element of darkness, but at least it's not nobody dies. I don't think.
I don't think so. I assume you don't kill, Spectre?
Yeah, well, Spectre continues to come back, so maybe I won't say that. PETA, don't tune in, go away.
He just goes back to the zoo, and isn't that a form of death?
Man, what does Ape Escape have to say about, the carceral system?
That's where all monkeys belong.
There we go. I'm handing out think piece ideas here. Anyway, I guess let's dive in. Now that we've given it that incredibly gloomy framing. Ape Escape. I swear we played one of these, but I cannot...
It's totally possible.
I feel like I can remember one, but it's on a spaceship. But none of these take place on a spaceship.
Maybe it was a spin-off. There's a few different spin-offs.
I just
But it is a PlayStation game. It is a PlayStation game, so it's entirely possible that we played it.
I'm confident that we probably played one of the, Ape Escape or Ape Escapes 2 as a rental or whatever at some point. But I'm talking about, I feel like we had one of them. So I've phantom memories of Ape Escape, basically, is what I'm saying. That's, I guess, how ubiquitous it was as a PlayStation game. It's I'm sure I played one of these.
See, I was really under the impression that you were an ape in Ape Escape. And, you have to, escape things. You're, running from things. This is not what it is.
It's really unconscionable that both Ape Escape and Super Monkey Ball exist. Because I think the problem for you is you've probably kind of merged the two.
That's totally possible, yeah. Donkey Kong. Throw Donkey Kong in there.
I guess Donkey Kong is a monkey. In my brain, until I think about it, Donkey Kong is in fact a donkey. I know that he's not. But I don't hear the name Donkey Kong and immediately think, yes, that's a monkey game.
Yes,
I have to
the
think
parallel
about it for
world where Donkey Kong is a donkey.
Could have happened.
Probably.
I feel like we had a lot of these kind of like dead series from the kind of PlayStation 1 era lately.
Yep.
So here we go. Another one. Ape Escape. From
Ape Escape's super dead now.
Man, yeah, let's be sure we talk about the sad 20th anniversary Twitter. That makes me sad, looking at those tweets. Anyway, the original Ape Escape came out in 1999 for the PlayStation, from Japan Studio, RIP, published by Sony. According to Wikipedia, I found this funny, the series incorporates ape-related humor.
Who knew?
Who would have thought?
Not me.
So it's, it's a platformer, but it's not just like you're jumping from platform to platform.
It's like a collectathon, sort of like, it reminds me of like Spyro, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Except there are monkeys.
Yes, except with monkeys, and I think there's like a time limit on levels too. So maybe a little bit like Knights as well in that sense.
There you go. Just throw out all the PlayStation games.
Exactly.
No, Knights wasn't even on PlayStation, was it? We talked about this just a couple weeks ago.
Oh no, it was on Genesis, wasn't it? Or it's on one of the Sega things.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, we never talk about Sega things, and you were like, yes, we do. And then anyway, go back and listen to that episode of the show for more accurate thoughts on Nights into Dreams. It was only a couple weeks ago. You can find it. So this is so funny to me. Every time I get like a thing that's like first use of something that I take for granted, I'm like, really? In 1999? But it's amazing how far games have come. Ape Escape was like the big grand debut of required analog controller. It was the first game to require the use of the DualShock. Which, like, I'm old enough to remember DualShocks having a button in the middle where you could turn on and off the analog stick. But even that is sort of foreign now to think about.
I sort of remember the PlayStation controller that didn't have analog sticks, but I don't remember being able to turn it on and off.
Well, I guess your brain wasn't developed enough to form a memory. Probably should have put on a monkey helmet to help you.
Oh, I guess I know what you're talking about now. I just don't think I ever used it because all the games we played needed analog controls.
Yeah. But it was super innovative at the time, Ape Escape, to require the dual analog stick use. So there you go. It's only been about 20 years since analog sticks. I mean, of course, they were in arcades before that. But still, wild to think of that being like, wow. And people were like, wow, shocked about it when Ape Escape came out, too.
And now we've got adaptive triggers and intense haptic feedback. How far we've come.
Thank God for haptic feedback.
Listen, when the controller goes vroom, it feels good, okay?
I believe you, PS5 owner. I really do.
I wish I could play an Ape Escape where the controller goes vroom.
Well, I don't want it. I don't want adaptive triggers for Ape Escape because you jump with the triggers in Ape Escape. R1 is the jump button.
Imagine, like, landing and it goes, you know?
I don't need that. I don't need that in my Ape Escape. Anyway, unlike Emma's impression of you are a monkey and you must escape, in Ape Escape, as we mentioned, Spectre, who's a white-haired monkey, gets, like a supercharging brain helmet called a Peepo helmet. And he gets a bunch of them and gives them to monkeys. That's the little, like, iconic little monkey hats that they wear in Ape Escape. And so using those enhanced brain things, in the first one, they actually like time travel throughout history to try to make it so that the monkeys, instead of the humans, have taken over the world. So someone was watching too much Planet of the Apes, I guess. And then Ape Escape was born.
Yes, key fact about the helmet that Spectre puts on. It makes him very smart, but because it's a prototype version, it also turns him evil. And this feels like a kink that should have been worked out earlier in the development phase.
Look,
just throwing that out there.
Software development is crazy. Bugs just appear. You can't expect QA to catch every single bug. Why would they have?
I just feel like that should have been raised to like should have been flagged, raised to highest priority. You know, helmet turns subjects evil. Please fix.
Management was aware of the glitch and chose to proceed to launch. Don't blame the testers. Again, How could they be expected to know that players would put the hat on a monkey? That doesn't make any sense.
That's true. You're right.
Let alone a white-haired monkey. Come on. That's not... Who would do that?
You already said the time travel part, too, right?
Yes, they time travel. Because they're super smart. So they figured out time travel.
That's all you gotta do for time travel. You just gotta be really smart.
So anyway, in the first game, you play as Spike, at least in the US. And you go back through time with first just with your net, but then with various other flying and super speed and RC car and all those kind of classic platformy game type items to capture the monkeys and bring them back to the zoo and restore order to the world as it belongs before it's taken over by the monkey overlords.
Exactly.
This basically continues, you know, there's Ape Escape 2, there's Ape Escape 3 that are in kind of the mainline series of Ape Escape. This is more or less the plot of all three Ape Escapes. The monkeys just take over different things in different games. Ape Escape 2, you do seem to play as an incredibly bumbling protagonist. Jimmy is Spike's cousin and just seems to accidentally re-unleash the monkeys. Like Jimmy is like a bad Amazon warehouse person. Like he accidentally sends along with monkey pants more of the monkey helmets to the helmets in the zoo and thus causes chaos to break out again.
I mean, you know, imagine being like Jimmy and your cousin's name is like Spike and he had this like epic adventure catching monkeys through all the time, you know, that everybody won't shut up about. And your name's Jimmy. What would you do? I don't know. Sure that holds it feels right.
In Japanese, it's Kakeru and Hikaru in Japanese.
That makes more sense, doesn't it? How did they get like they're like, these names sound similar. What could we do other than Spike? Mike? No. Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
And then in the second game, you get to fight the Freaky Monkey 5, too, which I dig.
I do dig that. Yes, each monkey also sort of has its own, like, personality and, like, ways to catch it, right? So, if the monkey, you know, might like shiny things or something like that. There's also monkeys in each level. Like, the first time you go through it, you'll have a time limit. You have to catch the designated number of monkeys and then complete the level. But then once you go back, once you've, like, unlocked new gear, you just go around with your new gear without a time limit and scoop up any monkeys that you have missed.
Because you can't leave a single monkey out, or it will take over the world.
Yes, no monkeys are allowed to be free.
Maybe this game is dark.
It kind of is, you know? All these monkeys want, you know, is to have some power in their lives, you know? They're denied that by some red-haired, spiky child with a net.
So Ape Escape 1 got really great reviews, hailed as really innovative in the 3D platforming space. Unfortunately, you really can't play it now. If you got a PS3, I think you can get it on PS3. Although, as I learned trying to download a game on the PS3 for the first time in a year this week, be prepared for it to take roughly 20 years to download. Yeah. But weirdly, Ape Escape 2 was ported to the PS4, or was remastered, was made available to play on PS4. And it looked for a while like Ape Escape 3 was going to appear there too, and then it never did. There's a lot of kind of weirdness, I feel like, with will there be more Ape Escape that has battered around in the past 5 years or so? And not just in the, we've talked about a lot of these series lately where it's like, oh, like there's all sorts of fan wishes for a new game, right? But Ape Escape has felt like at various points there was actually teasing for an Ape Escape 4 that never happened. Although, if you've still got an iToy, most recent Ape Escape to be released, I think, is a PlayStation Move kind of game.
Interesting.
But yeah, they teased an Ape Escape 4 way in 2006 or 2008 or whatever, after Ape Escape 3 disappeared. And then this 20th anniversary Twitter is just sad.
Tell us about it.
So, the game came out in 1999, so Ape Escape's 20th anniversary was in 2019. And so in June 2019, they launched an Ape Escape 20th anniversary Twitter feed, which the first caption is, so we see someone, the humans in Ape Escape suits are a marketing thing that has been used for Ape Escape periodically. So we see a picture of a monkey, Ape Escape monkey in a forest. And the caption, translated from Japanese, reads, 20 years since then. I've been running around for a long time, but I wonder if there is anyone out there to chase me still? Just oh, okay. That's a little sad monkey. But then kind of throughout that 20th anniversary, that year, that calendar year, June 2019 to June 2020, at various points it looked like they were teasing some kind of a new Ape Escape game. And then at the end of the year, it just, the monkey was like, it's time for me to leave the building. I have some regrets about things that I wanted to do but couldn't. But bye, basically. It's oh, that's sad.
Yeah. I mean, even in 2019, they were kind of... Sony was kind of lowering operations at Japan Studio. And as of about a month ago, I guess, it is now officially closed, except for Team Asobi, who does the Astrobot games. So, technically, Team Asobi does own the Ape Escape copyright now, and could do something with it if they wanted to. And they did say recently they're working on a large project, although they haven't said what it is. So it could just be a very large Astrobot game, since that seems to be all Sony has them making recently. So we'll have to see if anything happens with that.
I just want someone to confirm for me that Corona killed Ape Escape 4.
I don't think it was just that, if it was partially that.
If it was not the nail in the coffin. Because why would you start that Twitter account if you weren't going to announce, they just announced, some new merch throughout the year, which is, that's silly.
Yeah, but I seriously mean, that the Japan studio has just been, Sony's been, for some reason, well, the reason is that they're focusing on their big, huge, blockbuster releases now, and not their, experimental stuff that they used to encourage, which Japan Studio was all about. So, yeah, it was going in 2019 and it is gone now. So I think there's partly some that they just couldn't get it to happen.
I do sort of wonder, is Ape Escape a type of game that we would still want to play now? Does that make sense? Not to say, of course there's games for everyone.
They've made those, Activision, I think, made those big Spyro and Crash Bandicoot remakes.
Okay, that's true. I guess I mean to say, what I should have said was, yeah,
People
I'm sure
love,
if
like,
they...
Super Mario Odyssey, which I feel like has some similarities with
Okay,
this.
so that is fair. I was gonna say, okay, like, it's one thing to say, of course, if they made a remastered Crash-style version of Ape Escape 1, 2, and 3 as a bundle, like, yeah, I'm sure that would sell, right? For nostalgia reasons, whatever. Well, that's a good point about Super Mario Odyssey. I hadn't really thought about that, as that is, in some ways, probably a really similar type of game to this. So that answers my question. I guess people would still play it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a series that people are nostalgic about, so there's that going for it, too.
I mean, who doesn't want more monkeys in their life?
It's true. Who doesn't? One last thing that I think is really funny is in Ape Escape 3, they also changed the names of the protagonists for North America, but they're still Japanese names. Like, the protagonists who are twins are called, in everywhere else except North America, are called Satoru and Sayaka. But in North America, they're called Kei and Yumi.
Well, we can't have two protagonists with the same initial.
I guess so. They're like, they both start with Sa. That will confuse the Americans. Which, to be fair, it might do that.
It might. They're not wrong.
They're like, they won't know how to say Satoru or Sayaka.
Well, it's probably because I think Ape Escape 3, I think, is the one where they're, like, taking over TV stations and broadcasting monkey propaganda or whatever. And that couldn't happen in America. So we have to make sure that they have Japanese names. So we're clear that there's no, like, TV stations couldn't be taken over for propaganda use by glorified monkeys.
They've still got Spike and Jimmy in that too, though. So some real cultural mixing happening in the North American release.
Spike and Jimmy get brainwashed in that one. They don't even count anymore. So all of the monkeys have, like, little bios and ways to catch them.
Yeah.
How would, if you were a monkey in Ape Escape, how would you be caught?
Dogs.
Dogs.
But, like, in a cute way, not in a violent way.
Oh, good. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. I thought it was important to clarify.
So they'd have to have, like, the robo-dog toy, I guess, and it'd go, ruff, 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 ruff. And you'd
exactly. I would be fooled.
You'd be like,
instantly.
Huh? And then go look at it, and then you'd have to catch you before you realized the dog was fake.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
What about you? How would you be caught?
That's a good question.
Farm fresh vegetables?
Probably fresh vegetables. You'd be like, farm fresh bananas. It's your food share for the week. No, I mean, I'd have to be like a, whatever. I'd have to be like a paired monkey with, like, a boyfriend, right? So, like, it'd have to be like you lure the CBB monkey over with, like, I don't know.
Philosophy.
He's like he was already a smart monkey, and now he's gotten too smart.
He's too smart.
But then you have to, like, lure me. I'm like, where is he? Has he gotten lost?
Exactly.
And then you use the CBB monkey to catch me. Or fresh vegetables. But that would be kind of, we can't really have other foods. Monkeys only eat bananas.
That's true. You're right. Nothing else.
It's just a fact. And this series is based on scientific facts, so.
Just like Minions.
Just like Minions.
That's probably where they got the Minions idea from. Ape Escape.
I don't understand how, do they only eat bananas?
Don't they, like, scream, like, banana? I seem to recall.
I really have tried to know as little about Minions as I possibly can, I'll be honest.
I feel like we watched it several times.
Maybe you did. I don't think I did.
Well, I meant, like, when we were at Dad's, or, like, in the car.
But I think maybe well, whatever. I fell asleep, as I often do.
Well, I think there's a thing about bananas. Or maybe it's another food, but I'm pretty sure it's banana! Anyway. Miitopia.
Who had money
Where
on
there's also bananas in Miitopia.
So, Emma, I have to call you out. Miitopia is not actually a new game. I know the Switch version...
I was counting the Switch version, yeah. The Switch version adds many new features.
Look.
We've done remakes and stuff, too, for new games, so I think that this is entirely within fair game.
Look, no one is keeping score. I was just surprised. I
no one is keeping score, as you say, Emma, I've got to call you out.
I was just surprised, because I didn't realize, because, was I paying attention to what was coming out for the 3DS in 2017?
Yeah, it was a 3DS game.
I was not paying attention. I just didn't even know. I didn't know that Miitopia wasn't a new game. It is a new game. Listeners, I don't mean to send mixed messages. Emma was right to put it in the new game hat. There's nothing wrong with that. But I was surprised to learn that it also released in 2017 for the 3DS.
I feel like the 3DS had a bunch of, weird... Mii games. There was, Tomodachi Life.
Yeah,
too.
all of the reviews from 2017 are it's like Tomodachi Life, but you're a wizard. Basically. Yeah, okay, so Miitopia. Let me explain what it is, and then I will explain what Tomodachi Life is, I guess. It's an RPG from Nintendo, where you get to design your own beloved Mii characters, and then put them into the RPG world to play characters in that world.
Yes.
So there's a version that came out for the 3DS in 2017, and now there was a version that has been released for Switch with a bunch more customization features and such.
And a horse.
May. And a horse. Don't forget the horse.
The horse is new.
So, another game that is similar, obviously, of course, if you've ever played video games, and you are old enough to have played games on a Wii, you have probably made a Mii of yourself to play with in Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Almost for sure. And so, sort of, since then, there have been various games that have utilized Miis in various ways. One that kind of came between Wii Sports and Miitopia is Tomodachi Life, like Emma mentioned, which is sort of like Nintendo's take on The Sims,
Yeah.
But with Miis.
Yeah. You put them all in, this apartment building or hotel or something, and then they can, bond with each other or do things like walk on the beach, or you can give them food or clothing. You can make them sing songs.
She's really selling.
You can do some quirky things with it if you have weird enough Miis, basically.
So
and it's the same sort of deal with Miitopia.
Yeah, Miitopia takes that and slaps some RPG mechanics on it. So, after you've designed your first character, you arrive in Greenhorn Town, which is promptly attacked by the Dark Lord. You also get to, pick all the residents of Greenhorn Town and what the Dark Lord is going to look like. And the Dark Lord, in a thing, Miitopia also, I say this about every single game, so, please yell at me. But Miitopia also feels like a Talk This mashup, if only because it's, so dumb. It's we were okay, it's Wii Sports, and also, any RPG. We're he steals people's faces.
I think that's kind of horrifying, though, to be honest.
It is horrifying, but it really does. It's a nice, scary way of tying in, what Mii creation is, and making it horrifying.
Yeah.
I can already tell this mashup is going to be weirdly dark, but for, what these two games are.
What Mii did you set as your Dark Lord when you played the demo?
Josh we're watching Battlestar Galactica right now, and we're really fed up with the character of Gaius. So Gaius was the Dark Lord. It didn't really work because his hair disappeared, so it was just a dude with a beard, but whatever.
That's okay. You know it's Gaius in your heart. Yes.
I'm so done with Gaius.
Well, now you get to beat him up.
Well, only insofar as the demo goes. Yes. I made a Josh one to be the first one because I don't know. I wasn't feeling creative. But then we made Deku. Only you can't put makeup on the ones that you just make for the town, seemingly. Which was...
You can. I think you just have to go into, like... There's, like, a separate menu for it, I think.
Fair enough. I had a hard time figuring out how to put makeup on the townspeople, which was a shame because Deku would have looked better if we could have done up his hair with some highlights. I tried to make Aggretsuko, but of course she just looked like kind of an orange person with white balding hair spots. It's gonna look a lot better if I could stick some ears on her, but you know.
I think that you can go to like a Mii customization menu and then you can add the thing to it.
It's fine.
I don't know. I just made a bunch of Miis. In my demo, I did not start the game.
Oh, nice. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have made more before I, like, started. But yeah, we had Mob and Dimple from Mob Psycho. Dimple looked a lot better when his face got stolen. Because I couldn't make his face green because I couldn't figure out how to go back to the makeup. So he just was, like, blushing cheeks and purple lips. But then his face got stolen and put it on a green blob. And I was like, let's keep Dimple this way. He doesn't get to go back to his body.
Yeah.
Just like in Mob. And then Hinata was the mayor. I feel like we had somebody else, but I now can't remember. Oh, Edward Elric. It's very short, me.
That's funny.
So yeah, we had a good time creating some Miis. I will say that, anyway, I should finish. The Dark Lord steals Mii's faces, and so you have to help and do RPG stuff to get faces back.
Yeah, they put the faces on monsters, and then by defeating those monsters, the faces are released. Very Kingdom Hearts, honestly.
Don't say that.
Since instead of hearts, it's faces. Imagine the alternate universe where they're the faceless.
No. I won't.
Okay.
I won't imagine that.
Okay. What were you gonna say?
What was I gonna... that just wiped every thought from my mind. Oh, yes. This game feels like I had to make so many Miis in a row right at the start, because I don't, we have a couple of users on the system that I could populate into Miis, although those weren't, like, that interesting. And then there's immediately, like, 8 townspeople slots that you have to fill in addition to your protagonist, and then the Dark Lord. And I didn't even have any, eventually you get party members. I hadn't gotten any of those yet. So it did feel like it was interesting to me because, of course, making Miis was something that we did for fun, like, on the Wii.
Yeah.
But I don't, why would I have a big stable of Miis on my Switch? Like, I don't think there's any reason that I would have that.
Well, on the 3DS, I believe you could link up your Wii and your 3DS and, have your account with all your Miis, so you would be able to have access to all the Miis that you had made on the 3DS. But I think that they have basically gotten rid of that, Mii town thing that they used to have. On the Wii, you would be able to go and, look at all your Miis just, standing around. And that's not on the Switch anymore. So I think that does make it a little bit more complicated. Although there is now the option, because you can go, online and take things that other people have made if they've chosen to share them. So it is a sort of a quicker way to... Or you can search for people's creator codes if you want, scarily detailed Majima in your Miitopia game, for instance.
The thing is that I would much rather have my... I didn't make Majima because I thought that would be too on brand. Look, we're trying to give Yakuza, a little break here in the house. But I want my, clunky, horrible PS2 Majima.
That's fair. I'm just saying.
I want the one that looks like the one in the first game because that's all I can do on Mii creator.
You can still find real horrifying monstrosities if you just look in, like, the sample ones that are up for taking if you just want to fill in some characters.
I know.
I'm saying that is a way that they have made it so that it is easier to fill in all of the bit parts, I guess.
I guess what I mean to say is, obviously the joy of Miitopia, and listeners, if you're thinking, but what about the gameplay? Well, one, you're at the wrong podcast, but two, the gameplay is not wildly interesting. There's some interesting stuff. It's not uninteresting. I just mean to say
it gets. I was just gonna say it gets more interesting as you go along, because you unlock new classes that have like different drawbacks and stuff. You get a bunch of party members over the course of the thing. You also have to, like, feed your party members to up your stats. There are bad status effects that you can heal by dragging something back. The relationship dynamics play into, like, the attacks you do. So, like, as you deepen your friendship, you can do more moves together. But also, if one of your party members is annoyed at one of the other party members, they might be mean to them during battle. Or, like, they each have, like, personality trait. So those will also have random effects in battle. So, like, if you picked stubborn, sometimes the character will refuse to be healed because they're fine, So it does have, like, little systems that make it slightly more interesting and also slightly more comical along the way as well, which I think is cool. Like, it's a funny game. It's very hard to find games that are funny, and Miitopia is a very funny game.
But that circles back to what I was gonna say, which is that I do feel like a lot of that humor draws from who are the Miis that you're using.
Sure, yeah.
And that's why I didn't feel like I could skip, when the game was suddenly like, make me 8 more Miis, I was like, okay, I'd better do this, because if I just do like 8 random Miis, it's not especially amusing to just watch these like random generated characters. It's much more fun to be like, LOL, these are characters I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I would have liked them a little more spaced out, because it's fun to make a couple Miis at once. It does eventually start to be like, oh my god, I've had to make 7 in a row. Like, can I do something else for a little bit?
That's why you need friends.
Well, I traded off making them. But it is supposed to be a one-player game. Single-player experience. Whatever. I should have gotten
I just think that's a product of Nintendo's eclectic platform.
That's fair.
Right? When you bring something from one of Nintendo's old systems onto the Switch, you're always like, well, what are the trade-offs and changes we need to make in order to actually do that effectively?
The narrative of this game gets weirdly dark, too. Just beyond the face snatching.
That's true.
Like, in the end, I guess spoilers, light spoilers here. So the Dark Lord is actually not the final boss. You fight the Dark Lord, but then the Dark Curse comes out of it, takes possession of the Great Sage, who's been helping you, becomes the Darker Lord, in the end, becomes the Darkest Lord, kind of like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then you eventually find out that the Dark Curse was once a normal Mii that was rejected because it had a boring face. And so it hated its face so much, it wanted to get rid of it. Just became like hatred incarnate, and then started possessing other things and taking their faces. And at the end, you get the choice of whether you're going to destroy it or give it a second chance. Which just feels dark for a game in which Edward Elric and Dimple are running around my town. Like weird, half-formed Aggretsuko manning the shop.
If only the Dark Curse had been weird, half-formed Aggretsuko,
If only.
Everything would have been better.
Just like Nintendo. You did not have to go this hard.
I always feel like Nintendo games sometimes get, like, oddly dark all of a sudden. you know?
It's like they set up something like face snatching, and it's like, okay, well, where is this gonna go? Except for someplace bizarrely dark. Especially for a game that is obvious. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, Miitopia is a kid's game, because I guess it's not. But it is obviously one of those games that is targeted at a younger audience.
Sure. I mean, yes, play it with your children. This is a perfectly good game to play with kids if you're looking for that.
Probably a fun game. I was thinking like, oh, the little girls would dig the character creator. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Some real monstrosities would come out of that.
What do you think there will be a Miitopia 2? What's the next life for the Miis?
I don't know. I was kind of surprised when they said Miitopia was gonna come to Switch. Maybe they'll bring Tomodachi Life on there next.
Don't we all already have Animal Crossing?
But Tomodachi Life is better.
I know, but don't we all already have Animal Crossing?
But Tomodachi Life is better.
But haven't we all been burned by Nintendo not doing enough updates to Slice of Life games already?
I guess so.
With Animal Crossing?
All I'm saying is if they wanted to continue the Mii-pocalypse, that's probably what they would do next in lieu of making a new game. If I understand Nintendo, which I don't.
Miitopia, Mii-pocalypse could be the second Miitopia game.
That would be pretty good. You're free to use that, Nintendo. Nintendo ninjas. Listening to the podcast.
Hello. Are you ready to mash up these two games?
I'm ready.
Does feel like the Miis have to be there, or at the very least, some kind of goofy character creator.
Yes. Make your monkeys.
You can't just make Miitopia with monkeys.
Miitopia with monkeys.
You can already do that. That's what I should have tried to do. I should have tried to make an Ape Escape Mii.
You shoulda.
Ugh, missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. Okay, so probably it's like you create a bunch of Miis and then you have to capture them to bring them back into Mii slavery.
No. I'm gonna veto that game right immediately.
Okay, well,
no, it's out.
Give me something better then.
They have you make a bunch of Miis, and then it turns out the monkeys have a plot to usurp the human's role by switching the faces of the monkeys and the Miis.
Okay.
And now you're a monkey Mii, and you have to try and get all the monkeys' faces back on the monkeys and all the Mii's faces back on the Miis.
And how do
but
we
who's
do
the
that?
who's the real Mii and who's the real monkey, though?
I don't like the body horror element of this game. This is not child. Both of these games are appropriate for children. That mashup, not appropriate for children.
You make it you make it cartoony. It's fine.
No.
No, I'm sticking with my body swappers idea, where they switch the faces and the minds. So now you've got all these monkeys running around in human bodies, monkeying things up. And now all the Miis in the monkey bodies need to go and make things right. Please imagine all that in the Nintendo Direct announcer voice.
Imagine it like the very polite like presidents of various things being like, "Hello." Oh man, I can't believe that's what you suggested.
What? What's wrong with it?
Because then you'd have a bunch of different gadgets that would allow you to like. I just don't want situations where you like have like someone is running around without a face.
That's what is in Miitopia.
I know. I guess it is. I guess you're right. But I also like the situation of like, okay, maybe you have to like do a lot of face swapping. So it's like maybe you're just using gadgets to like, it's puzzle solving, right? So we have to use the gadget to get the right face to the right thing in each level. but sometimes it has to pass through a different wrong face to get there. We can have the personalities element is across both of them too. So it's like, oh, okay, like, I have to swap the aggressive person into this monkey body, so like he'll break through the wall so I can get the timid monkey's face off of the happy-go-lucky person.
Exactly.
Okay. I hope they're listening. This could be Ape Escape 4.
Yeah, you've got like a face gun.
Great.
shoots faces onto people.
Perfect.
Like a portal gun, but faces.
I think that this game shows a lot of promise.
I think so too. So I'm glad that you agree with Monkey Mii face swapping the RPG puzzle game.
I don't think there's any... Are there RPG elements to this?
I guess not. Just the puzzle game then. The puzzle platformer.
I don't have anything better to suggest. It's so hard when it's like, the Miis are pretty much non-negotiable.
As if you could come up with anything better to suggest.
An Ape Escape RPG. Honestly, your mashup where you are the ape trying to escape. Where it takes the RPG...
What does that have to do with me? Where it takes the RPG
the
elements?
RPG elements of Miitopia. You have like a party of apes. Flips the script.
That's true. You could do that.
In the end, you capture the humans and you send them to the zoo.
I don't like that.
You would say that. You're a human.
Sounds like something a human would say.
That could be part of the puzzle element. It's like, oh, okay, am I looking at a human face or a monkey face? It's like, oh, okay, is that something a human would say? Or is that something an ape would say?
Yeah, sometimes you don't know if it's a monkey face or a human face, because some people look monkey-ish, you know?
Some monkeys look like people.
And some monkeys look like people.
Especially with Miis. It's pretty easy to make a Mii that looks like a monkey.
True. You just do like the two nose and suddenly they look like a monkey.
We've got a bona fide hit on our hands. Well, folks, I guess that's as good as our mashup is gonna get. Sorry, that's obviously as good a mashup as we could possibly come up with.
That's truly the pinnacle of game design. And I can't believe nobody has taken advantage of this yet, Nintendo. What are you doing?
Where is the face-swapping game?
Stop suing people and make Monkey Mii face-swapping game.
Monkey Mii, Monkey You.
Yes!
And it can be like a U, and it comes out for the Wii U.
Can you imagine?
Monkey Mii, Monkey OLED. No, Monkey Mii, Monkey You is the name of the game.
Parentheses OLED model. That's how you make things catchy, you know?
They play the music gets stuck in my head for that ad. That ad plays a lot for me. The OLED ad.
I don't see that ad ever.
Well, I've clearly been targeted as someone who would buy an OLED model.
Apparently.
So. Anyway, Monkey Mii, Monkey You, coming to a store near you soon. But listeners, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Talk This.
Dangerous to podcast alone.
If you enjoyed this week's show, you should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Talk This Podcast. You should also check out our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read all about the show, see the games that Emma is about to pick from for our next episode in 2 weeks, and read our blog featuring long-running series, Clickbait Boyfriend, and Split Screen. I need to revive the blog. I need to come up with some blogs. Blog has had a quiet summer, but hopefully will come just roaring back in the fall. And finally,
I really need to get back on it. I really need to get back on the split screen schedule.
Look, I wasn't gonna say it. Anyway, put on your monkey hat and get to work. Big brain it. Most importantly, listeners, if you like the show, you should subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts online and on the app, Overcast, Pocket Casts, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Talk This. So next week, we are doing a side quest on something that I told Emma about when it was my turn for 4th of July.
Mal needs to search her texts.
I'm gonna do it while you pick games from the hat. Scroll past all the dog pics and see if I can find it.
Okay.
So next week is a side quest of my choosing. Perhaps I will be able to tell you what that is. I'm at Friday, July 23rd, so we'll see if I can scroll back far enough, fast enough. But Emma, in the meantime, do you want to pick our games for 2 weeks from now?
Yes. Our old game is going to be Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
So, my Mii game idea.
Yeah, I guess so. And our new game is going to be Murder by Numbers, which has been in here so long, it might not even count as a new game anymore. So good for Murder by Numbers.
We've got to clear it out eventually, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
The side quest is going to be about player identification with characters. And what makes you identify with a character? Why would we want to identify with characters? Etc., etc.
Very exciting.
So a more game designy one. Continuing that trend.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that next week. And for the 2 games that Emma said that I already don't remember because I was looking at text messages instead of listening. So it's a new record for how fast I've forgotten those titles. But one of them might not even be a new game. So you know it's going to be a great episode.
Thanks, Madeline.
It's going to be great. All the episodes are great.
Are you signing us off?
Oh, no, I was going to let you do it.
Oh. This week, I hope that your apes stay where they belong.
In a zoo. Imprisoned.
No.
In a cage.
No.